What's going on, everyone? Yes, there's another toy review, and yes, the man that stands in front of you is Cloud Strife. Now, this particular character comes from the epic video game Final Fantasy VII that was made by Squaresoft. Now, this version of him came from Final Fantasy VII Avid Children, which is a CG animated movie that came a few years, I ain't gonna say a few, came out quite later down the line. Now, out of all the Final Fantasy games, this has to be one of the biggest titles out of them. It just stuck, and it stuck really well. And Square Enix make a lot of money off this shit, pretty much, for magnitude reasons. But if you don't know who this character is, or don't know exactly which Final Fantasy it came from, you're probably either A, too young because it came out on PlayStation 1, 1997, or B, you don't have a fucking computer, or you don't know how to download video games, because it's on the PlayStation 3 and 4, I believe. I know it's on the PlayStation 3 that you can download. But besides that, this character is definitely from one of the stronger titles. Now, PlayArts Kai made this figure, which you all know. If you don't know, that's who made this figure, which is technically under Square Enix. So they're making their own shit, which is always great because you're going to get the best when it comes directly from them of their own material. So let's go ahead and see what this great figure has to offer, and maybe not so much. So right off the jump, you can see detail. PlayArts Kai always make a great looking figure for the most part. Now, because this figure is a Final Fantasy character and not like a third party character, you have the tendency to get a better figure out of your stuff. Let me go ahead and brighten this up a bit as I go down. You have the tendency to get a really good design, articulation, things of that nature, because it's directly from them. And if you don't believe me, go ahead and look at any of your other PlayArts Kai figures and compare them to Final Fantasy toys. You will notice that they have a little bit more love pushed into the figure, just because it's theirs and they clearly want their figure to be great and not shitty. So out of all of the PlayArts Kai lines that come out, let me go ahead and stand them up, sorry about that. Out of all the toy lines that come out from under them, mainly Batman, Metal Gear, and anything from an animated movie or just anime in general, you notice the quality is different. It seems to be better. I don't know why. Maybe they just care more, but that's who have the tendency to make really great figures. Everybody else got the tendency, you gotta like to roll the dice. You may get some great shit, you may get some shitty shit. You really don't know. But you can always guarantee to get something nice when it's coming directly from a Final Fantasy toy line. I mean, a Final Fantasy storyline. Let me go ahead and focus this for y'all. This is the back, of course. And let me refocus for the baggies. Alright. And one more side to go. Now, Final Fantasy was definitely one of my very first role-playing games I got into. I actually played a role-playing game called Beyond of Beyond. That was on PlayStation 1. That was my very first. And then when I seen I liked it, I was like, you know what, let me go ahead and give it a try, since my boy keep bitching about me playing Final Fantasy games. And he told me to get Final Fantasy VII. He's like, no, it's going to be so fucking epic. You need to get it. I'm like, okay, whatever, I'll get the fucking game. So I got it, and he was completely correct. It was definitely a really great role-playing game. And from that role-playing game, I started playing other role-playing games like Vagrant Story, Final Fantasy Tactics, and all the other goddamn numbers that they came out with. But beyond all that, that is your once-over. Let's go ahead and look at scale. We'll go ahead and zoom back a bit. Let's show you how tall good old Cloud is. I'll bring him about right here. So, to a 12-inch figure, from a 12-inch figure, there's Isaac Clarke. And as you can see, Cloud ain't that far off in height. Now, looking at the old Play Arts toy, he comes about that much over. And looking at the same from that particular line, here's Sephiroth, and he comes about that tall. So, that being said, if we get another Sephiroth toy, which I really hope we do, because that definitely need to be in the collection. I actually like to see the rest of them, to be real with you, but if we get a Sephiroth toy, that means Sephiroth will be 12 inches. Because to make it to scale, he's taller than Cloud. And if you see how much he's over Cloud, then look how much Isaac is over good old Cloud, the other Cloud. You notice that that height is pretty reasonable. So if we get a Sephiroth, that's going to be a big ass toy and dope as shit. And probably going to have a price ticker on that motherfucker. But I guarantee you everyone will go nuts and buy it anyway. So that is height comparison. Move them to the side real quick. And let's go ahead and get into accessories. Go ahead and zoom up real quick. Now, out of all the Play Arts Kai figures, I can't stress this enough. This was a must review. I know I'm late on it, but I had to do it because honestly, this has to be by far the one of the best Play Arts Kai toys. Period. You get your money's worth. It don't feel like you got raped when you bought it. Because a lot of these Play Arts Kais, either A, they just look like shit when you actually get it in person, or B, they don't come with nothing. And I said this before when I was talking about Metal Gear toys. I love some Metal Gear shit. And I can honestly say I'm so sick of getting the same fucking weapons repeatedly. So it feels like you get gypped because you're buying this character. Yeah, it's cool, you got a different body, but you're going to keep sticking me with the same damn weaponry. So just seeing something that has a nice amount of weapons and it looks great, this has to be by far one of the best. Like, I really like this figure. The reason I'm showing you this over again, because believe it or not, you get two of them. Let me go ahead and zoom out a bit. You get two of them. You get a right and a left. So one for the right hand, one for the left hand. All right. So you get two of those. You're going to get this saw sword, which looks amazing. Really well done. Really clean. And you're going to get two of those as well. You're going to get this sword, which I think is really neat. I actually like this weapon a lot. There you go. You're going to get one of those. You're going to get this one. Now, I've heard a few people say that at the hilt, it seems to be wobbly. It is. Mine is wobbly too. It doesn't feel like it's going to break. It just feels slightly wobbly. It's not a big deal though. It's actually pretty okay. I'd rather have this slightly being wobbly than my fucking whole sword falling apart. You're going to get that. And that's only one of those. And then when you put them 6 swords together, it creates the Buster Sword, or the new version of the Buster Sword. Because if you notice, you can see all of the weapons. So there's that short sword that you just seen. And this is why I really like the details. So that's the short sword that you just seen in there. Then the saw sword, that's that right there. And then you look at this sword, and there it goes, hidden up under there, which is really cool. So that's how you get this massive weapon. And just to show you the height on this weapon, it's not small by any means. It's about 12 inches tall. So, really hefty. Then you're gonna get an extra arm. Let me zoom back up. You get the non-sleeve arm. And I was actually shocked on how easy this goes into the body, which I'm going to go ahead and show you in a few seconds. And you're going to get a pair of, you're going to get, sorry, not a pair, you're going to get 3 pair, rather, of hands. You're going to get a right and a left hand for the swords. Okay. And just to let you know, when you get your figure, if you haven't got them yet, do not try to take the hilt off. They actually took another route. They didn't let you remove the hilt of the sword, or the handle rather, on his swords. The hand actually supposed to be soft enough, and it is. You can pull back. You might want to put a blow dryer to it just a little bit, because it is kind of tough, and what you don't want to do is break your weapon. Because I highly doubt you break the fucking hand, but you guarantee you'll probably break some shit or chip some paint. So I would probably say just soften up the hand a bit before trying to apply it around the weapon itself. But you're going to get a right and a left of that. You're going to kind of get that relaxed or kind of a action hand in the fashion, which also looks good. The gloves look really nice. And then you're going to get a fisticuff, which you've seen on that arm I actually already had attached. So you're going to get that. So that is all of the accessories of good old Cloud. Now, let me go ahead and show you how to remove the arm real quick before I get into articulation. We're going to go ahead and bring this up a bit. And what I mean by it's nicely done. Now, I had a few friends say they arm been popping out. So I will say be careful on constantly removing it, just in case if that could be a cause, or just in general. If it does just happen to have that problem, you don't want to make it worse. But you pull this arm out, you just wiggle it, and it comes out. Like so. And then you take this arm and just pop it in place. And you have another arm. And that shit is extremely easy. I'm really happy with that quality. Really nicely done. Once again, well executed. So let's go ahead and go up to Cloud's head. We're going to do articulation. So Cloud has a ball joint that attached from the head to the neck itself. He can get about that far down without moving the neck. This far over. That far over. Look about that much up due to the collar that kind of holds it back from doing that. Adding the neck joint into place, which that's also a ball joint from the neck into the body itself. Get about that far down, which is really nice. You get about that far over, which is also really nice. You get about that much over, and you look about that far up with the neck joint. So you get a little bit. Going down to the shoulder, I'm so happy. I can't stress enough. They do not got them damn door hinge arms. Thank you. Thank you so much for hearing our complaints. Or maybe they just were smart and decided not to do this shit. But what's nice, you have a ratchet hinge joint, okay, which clearly you know it was a peg into that, which pegs into the arm. It can rotate up here, like so. Okay, and then the arm goes. Now the arm can go up. Just be careful, because if you know this is a soft PVC, his suit, so that way it kind of helps with the arm movement. So just make sure that the arm is actually under that before trying to force anything. Let me focus. All right, so it goes about that far up. Clearly you can do a full 360 and get better poses. Just got to maneuver the joint around. All right, you're gonna get a swivel in the bicep, like so. You're going to have a hinge peg system. So you get about that much of a bend. And it is a ratchet joint. You can also rotate at the base of the elbow and below the elbow because it's on a peg. So you can actually, like, let's say for example, if something doesn't look like it's in place, see how I just moved that? You can do that. So that works really great. Coming down, you get, oh, let me focus. There we go. Coming down, you get a hinge joint that's on a peg system. Peg inside the forearm, peg inside the hand. And it's easy to remove the hands. Which, once again, highly respect them for making this. I love the fact that they make the pegs extremely long. just because that way you know the hand is not going to be tough to pull off, and the damn sure ain't going to be tough to actually put on. So this was really, really smart. They did it first with the Batman Returns figures that I've seen. Well, at least for me, that was my first time ever seeing it. And ever since, they've been kind of like rolling with that. So that's been really good. Now, going over to the other arm. Let me focus real quick. This is on a peg system going into the shoulder, going into the body, which is on the hinge. It's not a ratchet joint. It's just a straight up hinge. And that allows you to maneuver this around when you're moving the arm. So this is really nicely done. Now, I'm not going to do articulation on that arm, of course, because you already just seen it, but I'll at least show you the other arm so you can see how much you're working with. Let me go ahead and focus. Same thing goes up top. All this is all the same. You get about that much bend, so it's not that far off from the other arm itself. And then as for the hand, believe it or not, you get a nice range going on. So you can go about that far down, that far up. And if we turn the arm around, which I would say maneuver it with the peg, with the hand off, so you won't break nothing. You can turn it. I'm gonna put the hand back on so you can actually see how much range you got going on. You go about that far up, that far down. So really nice range. They did a really good job on that. All right, going into the body. You are dealing with I'm gonna say a regular ball joint, because it don't sound like they're using a ratchet on this one, because it's so easy to move around. Let me focus. So easy to move around. You get about that far back, this far forward, which is not much. A little bit of slide, a little bit of slide. So not too much. You want to be careful not to pinch or force anything, because unlike the old school did two things. Partially really good. Actually, I ain't gonna say really good. It was actually great. In this case, one of the situations could have been done. One of the situations can't be done. The first situation was that can't be done. In the old one, you were able to unbuckle these and take his actual drapery off, which was really nice. You can't do it in this one because it's fabric. So you probably could have did it if it was attached to something else or another way, like if it actually had something into the fabric itself, but you'll probably end up tearing up the fabric, so I can kind of see why they didn't make it removable. So that's one of the downsides of the figure. It's not a bad thing by any means. I mean, it's not gonna be, oh my god, I'm not buying the fucking toy. No, the toy is actually amazing. But that's just one thing that the old one had that the new one don't have. The other part is actually a color coordination, or I ain't gonna say color coordination, but a color choice on the palette. If you look at Cloud's hair, see how it was like a dark yellow? Or, I'm not saying that they don't pose to be, because in the game it's like a darker yellow, but in the movie it was a lighter yellow. And in the original version of this particular style character, his hair was translucent, which I actually think that was actually dope. That was a really good choice. I don't have no problem with this hair at all. I just think the other hair was better. That's all. The figure fucking looks amazing. So, but moving on, I just wanted to go ahead and just point that out. Going to the waist. This is on a ball joint. Really great range of motion. Get about that much tilt to the side, that much tilt to that side. Go about this far forward, which is nice. And goes about up, goes about this far back, which is also nice. All right. Now, going down to the pelvis area, before we start on the legs, this cloth, let me go ahead and pull it back a bit so y'all can see. This cloth is posable. Fucking sweet. So, really like this. So, me not able to remove his cloth, I don't even give a shit, because this is fucking fabric. Fuck that. I'll take this any day of the week. So, this was a really, really nice touch. I think other players kind of should utilize this. You notice with the other Final Fantasy toy, I think the character was from Final Fantasy 3 maybe, I could be wrong, but they used a cloth cape. I really think they need to continue with this. This shit is dope. Just picture you seeing a fucking Sephiroth with a removable cloth. I mean, not removable, but posable cloth. Even though it's coated as leather, fuck it. But this would be dope. Or if they could figure out a way to make his jacket posable. But that's really nice. Going down to the legs. This is what you gotta love about small frame figures versus like them big bulky ass figures that come out of Kai. You can get a full split. So your posability is fucking amazing. Go about that high up. And you go about that far back. I wouldn't force it because you don't want to break nothing. Alright. Going down to the knees. As always. Double hinge on a ratchet. Love this shit. I don't give a fuck if we see that joint. Fuck that. I'd rather take this nice bend than that big ass C-shaped shit going on with his knee with the other figure. So this is really nicely done. Going down to the ankle. Goes about that far up. That far down. And you can maneuver these ankles. It's a pain in the ass, but you can do it like if you tilt it like this and then start actually turning the peg joint, you can maneuver the foot a lot better to your standing. So you can always play around with that to get used to it. This cuff right here is attached right here, but not attached in the back. So it just kind of gives a more seamless look. Let me go ahead and focus. A more seamless look, if you notice, which I think this is really, really smart and amazing. Going down to the foot, he do get a toe joint. So he's solid. So my verdict on this figure, I'm gonna be honest with you. If you're a Final Fantasy fan, you need to have this figure. This figure is, when I say I was already blown away when I seen like the little prototype shots, but when I actually got the fucking figure, I was really, really happy. And I'm gonna be honest with you, we need to, as collectors, we do need to voice our opinions. I mean, hard. Don't be trying to be all light and ass kissing and be like, oh, this is the greatest figure. Like, if a figure fucking sucks, you need to call that shit out. Because at the end of the day, no company is going to understand that they're dishing out shitty stuff if we don't say nothing about it as collectors. And I mean, that's why my reviews, I don't give a shit. I'll post that shit and connect Square Enix with the link just so they can see it. I don't give a fuck if it's bad or good. It's just that they need to understand that paying $100 and more and you're getting a crappy ass figure out of it, not cool. So like them photographs I've seen people have broken limbs and shit. We need to start actually taking, like, seriously, I'm gonna make it a habit to do. If something is broke, some shit fucked up, take a picture of that shit, send it to their fucking Twitter. Like, they need to understand, like, okay, we spend this type of money and this shit is broke in the box. What the fuck? Do anybody test this shit? Do y'all just throw this shit in the box with the arm just dangling around and shit and just ship it to the person? Or, oh, it's good. No, it's not good. They need to check shit before sending it out. I mean, if they don't got no problem sticking that type of price ticket on a toy, then they shouldn't have no problem checking the shit before sending it. Or at least, in this case, I will give them this. I won't take this credit from them. They will take care of you if some shit broke in the box. Sometimes it could be a pain in the ass, but most of the time it's not going to be. You'll probably get taken care of ASAP. You just want to make sure if you get a figure, check the figure. As soon as you get the shit out the box, start checking it. Because a lot of times people end up getting stuff and they might collect, such as myself, and they'll keep it in the box and never take it out. And then they take it out and his fucking dick fall off, or his arm fall off, or his head, or his hair, or some shit. So, like, that being said, you need to check your items. You opening up the box and checking the item is not a big deal. You can still sell it for the amount that you want it for. No one's gonna bitch. I'm gonna be honest with you. If a person sold me a toy with it already open, as long as they said I took that shit out the box to check and make sure it was good, and before I sent it, I'll fucking applaud you. I'd rather you do that than send me some shit sealed and then I get it and then I move the leg and the leg is on the ground. Like, I would take that any day of the week. So, that being said, just check your figures before actually saying your shit great and not paying it no mind. So every figure I get, especially coming from this, I check the shit out of it. Yes, the shit out of it. So I advise you to do the same. That being said, hope you really like this figure. Hope my review actually helps to point you in the direction of picking this figure up, because you really should. You really should pick this figure up. It's really good. And once again, I'm sorry for being late. Other toys was attached to this toy, so I had to get them late. So I was really fucking late on the review. But I know it's long, but whatever. That's just me. That's just how I do reviews. But enough of my rambling. Hope y'all have a great day, a great weekend. Continue to collecting shits. I will have more toys coming very soon, actually. I know a few people wanted me to review that Ray figure. I'll probably do it this week when my son goes to sleep. Or probably in a few minutes. I don't know, whatever I feel like doing. All right, peace.